before we dig into the Tigers, as you're the Michigan Sportscaster of the Year, reigning champion, are you
Oh my
happy?
God.
Are you happy to be the Tigers broadcaster, or do you still wish you were maybe the Rockies or the White Sox broadcaster? Because I mean, they're having equally good seasons the last couple of years. It's very similar.
I don't know what that motion is. Yes, I'm very, very happy as the Tigers announcer. I will tell you that when I walked into Rate Field yesterday, the security guard outside said to me, I was like, hey, White Sox are better. He goes, at least we're not the Rockies. I was like, yeah, get after it, man.
That is true. Hey, it is tough though. I mean, you can tell us about this, right? Because you've been a team broadcaster for quite a while now. How much easier is it to do your job when the games are competitive and fun versus, I'm sure, I don't know which years you've been through and how tough they are, but I know some friends of mine, I won't name them, in the industry who have been part of, teams that went through long tanks, rebuilds, whatever, and they're like, I love calling games, but this gets tough, 110 plus losses.
Yeah, honestly, like I did a bunch of minor league seasons that were like rough win seasons too. And everybody on this show knows like the minors, there's even less to play for. So like I'm kind of used to doing seasons that go south. That happened a bunch in the minors for me. The one thing that I would say I think is really cool about this Tigers team as a narrator is that AJ Hinch is so logical and strategic and like high level poker player with his roster and with the way he manages that I can see after watching him for a while, like patterns. But I know that there's always a point to what he's doing. So I can search out the point of what he's doing and try to get there in terms of personnel. Like, why is this batter up? Why did Andy Ibanez hit here? Why didn't he hit there? What is it about the pitcher's stuff? Because there's always a why and a pretty distinct, specific why. So to me, it's about more having the logic of somebody in charge that like really does specifically want certain matchups. That makes it a lot easier than when you're guessing sometimes.
All right, let's go to this roster. Let's go to this roster that has been winning the whole year. And then Wenzel Perez comes back. Oh, and he just comes out banging. Parker Meadows plays in his first game. And what does he do? Oh, gets a few hits, but he also makes a diving play in the third most important position on the field, in center field. Like, you would never look at the Tigers and go, they have tons of depth. Because in the offseason, it was like, they're neck and neck for the Alex Bregman. Oh, they got it. They didn't get Bregman. Oh, it almost seems like the Tigers are like, piss off. We didn't even need Bregman. We don't need extra depth because we've been winning, and some of these players who have just come back are adding to the team that's already been winning.
And they've already played a really tough stretch of schedule too, Eric. Like you look, they have like the fourth easiest schedule remaining in baseball by win percentage. Maybe it's like sixth as of today, but it's definitely in the bottom third of the league. And, Parker Meadows coming back improves one thing the Tigers just have not done a whole lot of this year. They've been number one in baseball in extra bases taken. So like first to third, second to home. We've seen Joey Cora just spinning the wheel and waving people around. Coming into yesterday, they were dead last in stolen bases. Parker Meadows immediately in game one steals a base since coming back from injury. And then also the outfield defense just got so much better. You mentioned Wenzel Perez. Riley Green moves to the corner. You get Meadows in center. Even though Javi was great in center field, Parker Meadows is like state of the art in center field. So now you can run out configurations where there are three center fielders. I think that's a huge part of this thing too. So yeah, this is a really scary team that I think probably until like 10 days ago still was kind of lurking nationally.
All right, this team was young, had a young lineup. Anytime you have Javi Baez in your lineup, you're not really working too many counts. Have you seen the change that having a Gleyber Torres who has more walks than strikeouts in the lineup? Have you seen how the lineup maybe navigates at bats differently from last year where it was chaos in the bullpen and if our pitching doesn't do anything, we're not going to win, to now a lineup that, to me, I see a difference in how they attack at bats?
I agree. And I think that playoff experience last year showed the young guys what it takes to succeed, even specifically offensively in the playoffs. I think probably they really believe that their hitters meetings are as detailed as can possibly be. I love that picture, by the way. That is like the grainiest, most hilarious black and white picture ever. That's amazing. That's going to be Tiger of the Day today on our telecast, I have to imagine. But Gleyber Torres, AJ Hinch was talking about this when we were in Houston. Josh Reddick had stopped by. He's doing some pre and post for the Astros. And AJ was like, man, when we added a guy like Reddick or like other quote unquote professional at bats in Houston, you could see the impact on the lineup. And you all know that, like you see it, but anecdotally, it's true. Like Gleyber Torres is a really difficult, specifically first inning at bat generally. And the Tigers, for the balance of this season, have been at the top of the league in pitches seen in the first inning. They made life really difficult last night on Jonathan Cannon and bounced him very early from that game. And it's in part because of Gleyber's patience and willingness to put together a really strong at bat. I'm totally with you, Kratz.
So, Jason, what's the kryptonite? What's the fear right now? And what will we be talking about over the next month and a half come trade deadline time? Because, this team's clicking. They've got a great record. They're in a great spot. But, of course, they're going to work on things at the trade deadline and try and go a little further than they did last year. What would you do? What's on the wish list?
Yeah, I think, kryptonite and wish list probably, I would say, are a little bit, the fear is injury, right? They've handled injury very well so far this year with 3 center fielders on the IL to start the year. I think the thing that they would go get, if I'm just looking at the numbers and overall picture of the roster, would be swing and miss in the bullpen, right? The bullpen has had a very nice ERA this year, top 5. The strikeout rate is not fantastic. So I think we have seen enough in the past couple of weeks in Tigerland where Cade Smith comes in out of the Cleveland bullpen and strikes out the side, or like Randy Rodriguez's stuff, or, whoever out of that San Francisco bullpen that we just saw in Detroit. I think swing and miss stuff in the bullpen probably would be on the list. And then I think the injury thing would be the kryptonite. But you can also, before the last day of July, if you have an injury, you can settle that at the trade deadline. So, I would say number one would be swing and miss out of the bullpen that I would think that they would really start to think about.
FT fan by now, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL. Use code FAL.
All right. By the way, we had this argument because when I text you to come on our show today, I said, and you said you might be in your Uber. I'm happy that you're not in your Uber. But do you take an Uber XL? Do you take an Uber Black? Or do you take a different Uber that I never heard of, like a Uber van or something? I don't know. Because I never get past Black.
Soccer practice? Do you think I go to soccer practice all the time?
I don't know, because we had this with Matthew Boyd, and he's like, Kratz asked if he takes an Uber or a taxi. I'm like, nobody takes taxis. It's the big leagues now.
So, just regular Uber. Like, I don't need Uber Black. I do, like, if there's the extra $2 for, like, Lyft, like, preferred or whatever, because the cars are supposed to be cleaner. And, like, I don't like, my big pet peeve is getting into an Uber or Lyft, and the person has just recently smoked. Like, I don't want to smell like I just left blackjack at the Flamingo when I get in a car and then out of a car. I'm out for that.
Hey, I've been in cars with you. That is such a lie, dude. That is like the biggest lie. Like, you don't want a special car. Like, that is such crap. Because we got an Escalade.
What are you talking about?
Like, where's the Escalade XL? Please, I need the XL because
that is not true.
That is so true. When the poor runner shows up in their in their car. Where were we, in Baltimore? We were in Baltimore. Don't tell me you didn't complain
No,
in
no, no.
Baltimore.
Okay, here's the
No,
deal.
don't
Here's
tell me
the
you
deal
didn't
in
complain
Baltimore. I said to AJ after we got out of the car in Baltimore, I said, first time driving for this guy. Because that was not an Uber. That was the guy that picked us up. Because we were going like 6 miles an hour the one time up a hill. We were literally almost stopped. So it has nothing to do with the size of the car. It had everything to do with the idea that the person probably would have been better off starting in a go-kart.
There was one point where I thought we might have to get out and push because we were.
Yes,
even the guy
was the
even
deal.
driving us goes, I don't know if we're gonna make it up this hill.
That's what he said. He said, I don't know if we're
I
going
don't know if
to
we're
make it.
gonna make it. We're like, wait,
It was
what?
like
Are you
Fred
sure it was a car?
Flintstone was driving us. He was
Yeah.
using his feet first and then the pedal.
By the way, what's Lyft? I don't know what Lyft is. Sorry. I did.
Lyft is an
All right,
Uber competitor. Sorry.
Yes, yes. He's so bougie.
I'll give a
so bougie.
sponsor. I'm sorry.
We don't.
We don't actually,
But now we
need
won't.
one.
Now we
XL
won't.
Black. Thank you.
Now you definitely won't.
Did you talk to any of the guys that had the pinball place, right? Because you've called 2 now. So did you talk to McKinstry or Dingler? And then I guess the other side was 2 Red Sox players, so maybe less likely. But I mean, any aftermath from that, and also how rare it is? I don't know if you can even look that up. I think on the call yesterday you mentioned, is this the first time ever we got a 2-5 play in foul ground to make an out? I don't know if that was looked up, but anything after the fact that you learned about?
Just a very quick text with McKinstry last night, but like I once we're in the clubhouse today, I'll get you some answers on that. But I think they were both surprised for sure. That was my takeaway. We tried to look it up, but I don't know that has ever happened. There were a couple 2-3s though, like the 1980 World Series. It happened. 2016, David Ross to Anthony Rizzo. They both happened on the other side of the diamond, catcher to first base. I haven't seen any catcher to third base, but we did get a substantial amount of tweets of people telling on folks who said in their replies, I did it in Little League. So I'm certain it's happened and people have done it, but not in Major League Baseball, according to what we saw. But no, I haven't talked to him at any length. I'm going to do that today.
There's a very famous one of me running over Gordon Beckham in the Metrodome when he tried to play third base, catching the ball. Actually, Jason, you'll love this. Gordon's grandmother had a picture painted of me crippling Gordon Beckham.
Why would she have a picture?
I don't know, but it was like a painted picture. It was like a portrait of me like Beckham and I running into each other in the Metrodome.
Wow.
And he had to hang it over like his fireplace in his house because it was his grandmother bought it for him. So he's like, what am I supposed to do with this thing?
What did he say to you after? Did he say, the boys are grinding, AJ? The boys are grinding. They're getting after it. They're grinding.
I said, Gordon, get off the tracks when the train's coming through, okay? Should have caught that and called me off.
I guarantee you he got the worst of that, right? Like did he get flattened? What happened?
He might have missed a week. I don't know. I don't remember.
He retired? No.
Oh. Wow, Scott.
I didn't say that. I love Gordo. I love you.
I'm kidding.
I do too.
All right, I got one more for you on these 2 plays. I'll do the nerdy broadcaster side of me because we do, of course, have some aspiring broadcasters that watch and listen. How does that play out in your brain? I feel like things happen differently for different broadcasters. I know there's some broadcasters who I talk to who try to visualize certain moments, games, playoff games, whatever, and what kind of calls they want to make. Most, I think, don't, and they just kind of flow. In this case, you don't know what's happening at all to any extent. So how does that play out in your brain? If you can try to give me play-by-play of the brain while this is happening.
Yeah, it's a good question. The first thing that I would say is once you do a bunch of games, you know that you can call the play if it's routine, right? You know that like if it's a pop-up, he's either going to catch it or he isn't. So you're ready for that. So I think the thing that's changed for me over, the last handful of years, 5-6 years, as I've done more and more Major League Baseball is I'm kind of waiting for the oddity and ready for it. Not that I'm like expecting it in any way, shape, or form, because I'm certainly not. But he's either going to catch it or he's not. So like you have that. It's all about watching this play, this moment. And so I think you just react as a human being. Like my call last night, I don't know that anybody's going to say like in broadcasting school, be like, no. What? Wait, what? But that's what ran through my head is like, not again, right? Like what are we going to keep having these sorts of plays? And he just pinned it to his leg. And I was just shocked more than anything. And then it's like, okay, what did that look like to me? And I try to analogize or like whatever pops in my mind. I don't really have an enormous filter, as people will know. So like if it pops in my mind, I'm probably going to say it.
Jason, by the way, you're pretty funny. I think you're funny. What? I just want to know this. Did you realize back in, what year were you in AA that Fox would hire Joe Davis, you and Adam Amin, all of you guys? One of you was in Montgomery, one of you was in wherever. I mean, all three. Weren't you guys all three in the Southern League at the same time doing game or around the same time? Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, we were in the minors all together. I don't think ever in the same league. Joe was in the Southern League. Adam was doing like he was doing AA in the, I think like the East Coast maybe or something like the Somerset Patriots. They were indie ball, I think. Mm-hmm. And then I was in Salem, Virginia with an Astros team. You ever seen Borat, where Borat goes to the rodeo? That was in our parking lot. So it was awesome. I love Salem, Virginia. It's a great place. The rodeo was actually in that parking lot. So that's actually true. But yeah, no, it's nuts. It's honestly nuts. Like I wish more minor league announcers would get a chance in the majors because I think there is a lot to having called a bunch of games. Like I will tell you, I'm not nearly as ready for plays like that, like we've seen, if I haven't done a ton of games where I've made mistakes like you get to in the minors.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.